Hello guys, welcome to the 35th session of Blazor tutorials for beginners. In the previous session we have executed JavaScript code from C#. In this session we will perform the reverse operation. We will execute C# from JavaScript. Let's create a new component to understand it. JS runtime interrupt. First of all, add page directive for this component so we can access it directly. Here we will create a button. On its click event, we will obtain server-side datetime. We cannot rely on JavaScript because it may give the local time of the user in state server. So we will obtain a date from C#. Here for the learning purpose, I will use JavaScript function to call the C# function. Let's create a button. Add some styling. Load data. On its click event, we will call window load data function. Note that this is a client-side event handling. So this method will be defined in JavaScript, not in Blazor. Now let's create a server-side handler. Public static datetime load date. We need to decorate it with JS invocable attribute. Here I am just returning current date time. Now we need to create a JavaScript function which will invoke on clicking on this button, and it will execute this static method to obtain date. Open index.html and create load date in Windows scope. Using .NET invoke method function, we can execute C# code. It takes two parameters. First is assembly, in which it will check for static function, that is Blazor client side. And second is static method name, which will be executed, that is load date. And print the state value on console. Save the file, run the project. Open the page. And open Developer's Toolbar. Click on the button. Here we got a date which was written by C# method. In this example, we have called static method only, but we can also call the instance method as well as async methods using invoke method async function. Let's understand it with another example. For this example, we need to create a class which acts as a store. So each instance has different data. Create a class named userData. It has one field of type list of string. From constructor, we will update its value. It also has one method which will be called from JavaScript. It will be async. Load user data async. And return user data. I have used await and from result for understanding invoke method async function. And mark this method with JS invocable. Using this attribute, we can change the identifier name which will be used by JavaScript to invoke it. For now, I am going to use the same name as C# method name. We have created a store class which has an instance method. Let's create another button. Load user data. This time we will handle the server-side event. Load user data. Create this method. Make an instance of user data. Within that, pass list of string hello world. Now we have to pass this instance to JavaScript function, using which we can execute non-static methods from JS side. For this, inject IJS runtime. Use JS runtime invoke async. We will execute load user data async. Within this method, we need to pass a reference to this object. For this, we need to use .NET object ref create method. We have created an instance. Execute this JavaScript function by passing the reference of instance. We need to await for this and make this method async. Now we need to create JavaScript function to complete our example. In index file, create a new function. Load user data async. It will get an instance from the parameter. From this instance, we need to use invoke method async function to execute the async function that we have created. It will take only function name. It will obtain an assembly name from this instance automatically. Because this is an async method, we will get the promise. Wait for it using then function and display data on the console. Now let's recheck flow. From this button, we have executed this method in which we have created an instance of a store and called JavaScript function. Within that, pass reference of instance. In JavaScript, we have created function and call method defined in user data class. And here we just return a list of string, save the file and run the project. Refresh the page. Click on the button. Here we got an array with 2 messages which is written by instance method. Let's see what we have learned in this session. We have learned how to execute C# code from JavaScript. It uses .NET class for this. We need to use invoke method or invoke method async for executing method. This method must be marked with JS invocable attribute. Here are 2 JavaScript functions that we have created. First is synchronous and second is async. So we get promise and return. Here is a store class which contains a list of string. In component, we can directly execute a client-side event like load date and we can execute it with JS runtime. Here we have passed a reference of instance. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any doubts, please feel free to contact me. Have a nice day.